I want to talk about NBA next. So Summer League, we kind of talked about reactions yesterday, but Keyonte George is one name I specifically want to call out. He was awesome last night for the Utah Jazz, and it got me thinking a little bit overnight. We both loved Keyonte George. I think it's fair to say outside of the state of Michigan, like he was probably our favorite player collectively in the country this past season. I called him Kid Gorgeous early in the year, and then that nickname never stuck. But we were in Madison, Wisconsin after an ice party, delaying our dinner plans so that we could watch Keyonte George just feast against Kansas. Like he was must-see television for me every time that he played. He had 26 points last night, 7 assists. The assists are popping for him in a way I didn't expect right away. 5 for 10 from 3. We know he can do that. I feel like there is a gap every year in the NBA draft between NBA draft analysts and NBA draft Twitter and NBA scouts versus college basketball fans in evaluating guards. I feel like typically the NBA gets big men and wings pretty spot on. Like sometimes they can see holes in those players' games more than I can at the college level. But every year, I swear to God, there's a guard who's incredible that we know is incredible just from watching 30 games of him that falls to like 20th in the draft because NBA scouts talked themselves into Bilal Coulibaly over Keyonte George. Like there was never a world where Keyonte George wasn't like a top 8 prospect in this draft. And oddly enough, credit to Rob Doster for calling this out. He said he could be the next Devin Booker. He's showing signs of that. I get it's really early, but like, why do you think that guards that we love in college that so clearly feel like superstars just fall under the radar and fall to like 20th in the draft year after year after year?
Yeah, the only one I can point to with this is that just I don't think the Baylor system really exemplified him or did any favors for him. Just with the other guards they had in the fold with Flagler, I feel like it put Keyonte in a box where he was kind of just standing around a little bit a lot of the time, and then he would get the ball and go to work. And because he didn't get the ball as much as I think he maybe wanted to, or get as many shots as he wanted to, I feel like he felt the need to shoot every time. And I thought that he always had kind of that passing ability. Like you used to see flashes of it. So like the fact that he's getting 7 assists doesn't really, shock me at all. But I mean, like you said, I can't believe we're saying credit to Rob Douster on this damn podcast. I did not want to say that, but like I definitely do see shades of that. And you can squint and see a Devin Booker type player. I don't know if he necessarily has the measurables that Booker has, because I feel like Keyonte George is like 6'3", maybe 6'4".
Yeah, that sounds right. I feel like he was 6'4" in my head,
Yeah,
which is all.
but he's showing the full bag in this summer league, and also if anyone hasn't noticed, he looks in unreal shape too. By the way, like he's looking really spell. He got a little husky towards the end of the Baylor days, but he's looking in great shape. And I hate that he's in Utah. I'm sorry, I do. Like he's gonna be the next Donovan Mitchell sent out of there, right? Or are they just
Yeah,
gonna build around him? Like what are they gonna do?
I kind of like it. That was one of my. I think I did
Really?
a video on fits after the NBA draft that I really liked, and Keyonte George was number 1. And it's because I feel like Utah has no current pressure on that team to win at all. They're just like, we're gonna roll out our young guys and see what happens. And Utah's next best 7 players are all front court guys. So if Keyonte George is really good, he's going to do everything for that team in the backcourt, which I think is a situation he needed to land on. Like if you threw Keyonte George on a playoff team right now, I don't know that they even let him in the rotation because like he needs to be able to make mistakes. He needs to be able to have the ball in his hands 20 times a game and play in and play out, just be the driver of that team and see if it works. And I think that's happening in Summer League already, and he looks super dynamic. I think Utah is going to allow him to do that in the regular season too, which is really exciting. So
There's a world where you got robbed of a Keyonte George and Jordan Poole backcourt.
yeah, that's sickening.
You
I
deserve
just,
that.
I'm looking back through some like Tyrese Maxey fell to 21 in 2020, and Patrick Williams and Isaac Okoro went 4 and 5 in that draft. Like, any college basketball fan on earth could have just told you there's no way that Tyrese Maxey was going to be a worse player than those guys. Like, I just think you can go year in and year out and find dudes that were really good guards in college that the NBA just lets slip. And I don't understand why. Poole's one of them. And I know Poole's had like a lot of issues, but like you could tell how dynamic he was in college. He falls to 20 while Jarrett Culver goes sixth, while like I'm trying to look through the rest of that draft. Like it was ugly, man. Like Romeo Langford, Sekou Doumbouya. I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring back a bad memory there. But
Jesus.
do you think it's something with guards instead of big men though? Am I onto something there, or are you just like shaking it off?
I think it's undersized scoring guards.
Okay.
I think I think they struggle with undersized scoring guards and how they'll translate. Which now that you think about it, like why is it so confusing? Like, do undersized scoring like combo guards really struggle like that when they're high draft? Like I'm thinking of like the Donovan Mitchells of the world, the Tyrese Maxeys, like these undersized combo guards that aren't really point guards, maybe not necessarily shooting guards, but they are shooting guards. Like they usually, if they are successful in college, they kind of go on to be pretty successful. But you rather take, you know, the guy with the super long wingspan who, you know, played over in New Zealand and is 19 and has all these measurables and all this potential. It's just, I don't know. It I think in the NBA draft, there's way too much emphasis put on potential. I get you want to draft for potential, but also like look what's in front of you. Like watch.
Or
What about
just
right now?
or just like size and frame. I think that's like I'm still going back. I'm sorry, but like Mario Hezonja goes 5 in a draft where Devin Booker goes 13. Like why? Just somebody tell me why. It doesn't make sense to me. And I get it's easy to look back and like pick all this stuff out. Like at the time, nobody was like Devin Booker's a top 5 pick, but it just feels like every year the guard that you and I would say, "Oh, that dude's a superstar." Like we absolutely have nailed the last like 5 drafts of that guard's awesome, and he falls to 15 or later and ends up being great in the league. Like I don't understand why it's with guards every time, but I don't know. It's a trend I'm keeping my eye on for sure. Let's talk home run derby stuff.